Good evening, viewers, and welcome to tonight's regional news. We begin with the news from St. Kitts and Nevis. The St. Kitts and Nevis government declared a state of emergency as the Twin Island Federation grapples with an increase in the number of coronavirus cases in recent days. The government says it is engaged in a war against the COVID-19 pandemic that, if not contained, threatens the lives and livelihoods of its citizens, and as a result, it has had to act swiftly to save lives in this time of the global and deadly pandemic. The state emergency comes about in the wake of a new wave of rising COVID-19 infections brought about by community spread that has seen to date 244 confirmed cases of COVID-19 with 108 active cases, 64 recovered cases, and 0 deaths. The statement added that the state of emergency will remain in place until July 6. We now turn our attention to Antigua and Barbuda. The authorities of Antigua and Barbuda have granted their first license to grow cannabis to a local consortium known as Grow Antigua and Barbuda. Medicinal Cannabis Authority Chairman David Joseph said the projection is for the industry to contribute at least 10% to economic output in the next 5 to 10 years. He said the government intends to have local content and local ownership in every enterprise established in the cannabis industry. Prime Minister Gaston Brown said he has always maintained that the first cannabis license to be granted in Antigua and Barbuda had to include the members of the Rastafarian community. Brown said that given that global medicinal marijuana sector is valued in excess of 30 billion Eastern Caribbean dollars, it was necessary for the island to be ahead of the curve. In Colombia, the Colombian government is investigating after car bomb explosions at a military base near the country's border with Venezuela injured 36 people. 2 explosions took place on Tuesday at a base used by the 30th Army Brigade in the northeastern city of Cucuta, the Defense Ministry said after 2 men drove a white Toyota truck onto the site after passing themselves off as officials. Minister Diego Molano said one of the wounded has had surgery and 29 are hospitalized. Officials blame the attack on members of the National Liberation Army, the country's last recognized armed group, but Molano said Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia dissidents may also have been involved. And now for news from the World Health Organization. The Delta COVID variant, first detected in India, has now spread to more than 80 countries, and it continues to mutate as it spreads across the globe, World Health Organization officials said Wednesday. The variant now makes up 10% of all new cases in the United States, up from 6% last week. Studies have shown the variant is even more transmissible than other variants. World Health Organization officials said some reports have found that it also causes more severe symptoms, but more research is needed to confirm those conclusions. The United Kingdom recently saw the Delta variant become the dominant strain there, surpassing its native Alpha variant, which was first detected in the country last fall. The Delta variant now makes up more than 60% of new cases in the UK. And finally, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has formally acknowledged that his country is facing food shortages. Addressing a meeting of senior leaders, Mr. Kim said, I quote, "The people's food situation is now getting tense," end of quote. He said the agricultural sector had failed to meet its grain targets due to typhoons last year, which caused flooding. North Korea has closed its borders to contain the spread of COVID-19. Trade with China has plummeted as a result. North Korea relies on China for food, fertilizer, and fuel. North Korea is also struggling under international sanctions imposed because of its nuclear programs. And that is all for your regional news. Thank you for joining.